Hello students, welcome to the class. Today we are going to cover chapter number 4, Weather and Climate, the following points. The basic concept of climate, factors which determine the climate. They are distance from the equator, altitude, distance from the sea and the temperature zones of our planet. Let's discuss the basic definition of climate. So, climate is the average weather condition of a given area for a longer period of time. Here, what we mean by average weather conditions, like average rainfall, average humidity, average temperature, and average wind. Average is taken out after a long period of time, and here we take a time span of 30-40 years, like how the climate has been prevailing in that area for 30-40 years. From last 30-40 years, how the conditions had been there in that area. If we compare, you know, between weather and climate, so there are very basic points. First is weather is about today. Like, what is the weather of today? Is it rainy? Is it bright? Or there are some clouds? Is it about to rain? It is weather. And when we talk about climate, we talk about the climatic conditions of that area which has been prevailing from last 30-40 years. Weather and climate has a very basic difference, which is weather changes within few minutes, fractions of seconds, and weather changes outside your window. When you are boarding bus in the morning, you may see a bright sunny day, and again, as I told you, it can change by the lunch time. You may see outside the window and it's raining. So it is about weather. It's very temporary and over a short period of time. When we talk about climate, it takes very long time to change. Now, what or which factors affect the climate? What are those reasons which affect the climate? There are three major reasons. One is distance from the sea, altitude, and proximity to the equator. As you can see in the photograph also, when we are talking about altitude, it is showing a mountain. A mountain is what? Which is a high elevated area having a height from the ground level. And when we talk about distance from the sea, we talk about the distance from the water area to the land area. And proximity to the equator, we will discuss about the direct sun rays which are falling in equator and the slanting sun rays which fall on the poles. As you can clearly see that at the equator the sun rays are falling directly, and at the poles they are slanting. At equator you can clearly see that they are covering more area, and by the time they are reaching at the poles the area widens and the heat content decreases, and that is the reason at equator the temperature is hot, climate is hot, and at the poles we find the ice glaciers which have extreme cold temperature. When we talk about the second factor, that is altitude. In simple language, altitude means height from the ground level. As we go from surface of the earth to higher elevation, atmospheric temperature decreases. Atmosphere get heated from below, and Just to get this point clear, we can take example of hill stations like Shimla, Manali and Kashmir. They all are situated at height. They are not in the plains. They are in the Himalayan range. They are at the mountains. As we move up, the air gets thin, the oxygen level decreases, and that increases the temperature in cold degree. We feel more cold in hill stations as compared to the plains. The third factor is distance from the sea. Here, sea exerts a moderating influence on the climate. If the place is located away from the sea, then the moderating influence of the sea decreases. Students, what is a sea? In simple terms, you can say a big water body. And if there is more water surrounding you, there will be more water content in the air because of evaporation. And then, after evaporation, when the cloud gets heavy, it rains, means precipitation. That whole cycle keeps on going in that area. And as far as you move away from the sea, the water content decreases in the air and the air becomes dry. The air quality of Rajasthan and the air quality of Mumbai differs because of the water content and because of the distance from the sea. Now the temperature zones of the earth. You can see three colors on the screen: orange or red zone, yellow and the blue one. Near the equator you will see the orange zone. It is known as torrid zone. The location is between Tropic of Cancer and equator in the northern hemisphere, and between the Tropic of Capricorn and equator in the southern hemisphere. This area is known as torrid zone. When you see the yellow area, you will see the area between Tropic of Cancer and Arctic Circle in the northern hemisphere, and Tropic of Capricorn and this Antarctic Circle. This area is known as the temperate zone. When we talk about frigid zone, the region between Arctic Circle and the North Pole in the northern hemisphere, and the Antarctic Circle and the South Pole in the southern hemisphere, falls in the frigid zone. They are extremely cold areas.